Hey, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're tuning in from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and for our viewers on YouTube. We truly appreciate you guys following along with us on our journey. I know we have a very special guest with us here today, but before we get to that, we'd like to welcome you to another episode of What Anna Said podcast. Yes. So, speaking of our special guest, we have a very special guest. She is well known in this community. She is an entrepreneur. She is a boss mama. She has her own business. Okay, and it is Brianna, aka Nokelas. I know we are so excited to have her with us today. I know she's a little bit nervous, but she said a lot, but we are just so extremely grateful and thankful that that you were able to sit down with us here today. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get into Nokelas and Brianna. And I know that you moved down here to Texas a couple years ago.
2018.
Okay, 2018. Yeah, so you've been here for about 6 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
6 years. Jeez.
I know it went by
I
fast.
keep thinking it's 2. Oh my gosh.
I know. Wow, that actually you are right. That went by so. She a texting girl. Okay, sorry, but no. But before she came to Texas, she's actually from Hawaii. Okay,
Okay, you said it right, girl.
yes, if I'm
You're
saying
true
wrong,
Hawaiian.
I'm trying, girl. I'm trying. But she's from Hawaii. Okay, if you guys don't know where that is, just look it up. But yeah, so let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead, Bree. Just share us a little bit about yourself and growing up and
Yeah, so did you grow up in Hawaii? Is that where you born and raised there?
yeah, so you were born and raised in Hawaii. Oh, okay. Growing up over there in Hawaii, how is that compared to here in the mainland? Because I know you guys like to call us here mainland. So, am I right? Am I getting it?
You're right. Back home growing up, it was man, it was literally paradise. Like
Man,
we'll
I
be
bet.
outdoors
That's the life.
24/7. Like it's different from out here because the weather
Mhm.
the
It's
weather kind of
island.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, the
There's
beach.
fresh air, yeah, the beach. And just like neighborhood kids, like
Yeah.
my mom then wouldn't have to worry about watching us outside because
Yeah.
everybody's like looking out for their
Exactly. It's uncle
for
and
kids.
auntie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally everybody was uncle and auntie. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe y'all.
Bro.
Can you let Bree tell the story? Can you let her?
Okay. Man, I know, especially just the whole culture out there is so different than the mainland, but I know also as well as the food out there. The food take me back right now. Okay. The one thing about Hawaii is the food every single time. So I know you grew up out there and I know you've mentioned to us before you have siblings as well. Were they all born out there in Hawaii as well?
Yeah, we're all born and raised Hawaii. My parents too. Yeah. My oldest son. The rest was born here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So Noke was born out there too. Oh, wow. So how many siblings do you have?
There's 5 of us and I have 2 stepsisters. So 7.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of siblings. Yeah, I'm pretty sure growing up with that many siblings, there was a lot of maybe arguments, but a lot of fun time and memories made for sure. Yeah. So how did you guys make your made your way and make the decision to come out here to Texas from leaving Hawaii? Because I know being in Hawaii, if that was me, I would stay in Hawaii because like right now, I wish I could go to Hawaii and just live there because the island life, the beach life, island time, everything about it just so relaxing and different than here. But what made you guys have that decision to move out here to Texas?
The cost of living, like
Oh yeah.
we had to house hop and
Mhm.
live with family and it wasn't for us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just the surroundings, like the people, there's a lot of drugs
Yeah.
around and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was just bad where we was.
Yeah.
So I asked God to make the way to leave and
Yeah.
he made it through my brother-in-law and his wife, Missy and San in
Oh
Akoto.
yeah.
yeah, they helped us start a life out here.
Oh.
And yeah, forever grateful because we wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for them. Yeah.
Oh, I really, truly love that. I mean, I'm sure that that was a very hard decision to even make, to leave something that you've known all your life.
Yeah.
You're born out there and grew up there, and then, pack your things and come out here to Texas. I know that that was a big move for sure, and a lot of decision and a lot of prayer, and knowing that God, was had his hand in that through everything, and with your sister-in-law and brother-in-law and bringing y'all out here. It's just such a joy to see you guys came out here. Not only did you come out here, but then you came out here and you did your thing. You became a boss mama out here. You became an entrepreneur. You started your own small business, and I know that as well, being as successful as you are now, I'm sure that it had its own hardships at the beginning of starting your own business. And could you just tell us a little bit about that, a little bit about how Nokelas came about, how you came up with the name, and all of that?
Okay. It started with me being tired of being broke.
Yeah, girl.
Like I was like, damn, how can I make money and stay home?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know how snap. Like,
Yeah.
but like I was just tired of staying home and being broke,
Yeah.
and was living off of one income. And I
Mhm.
asked God, I literally begged, I was like, please make the way. Like, I'm tired of living like this.
Oh
like,
yeah.
we were at Manchester Apartments at time,
Yeah.
and I was like trying to get out. I was scared, like it was kind of bad. But man, so this one day I was like bored, and I
Yeah.
had the thought to try and make poke,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody in our home was like craving it. So I was like, okay, let me try. So I tried it, and they were like, oh frick, like this is so
Yeah.
good. So I started selling, and then from there I just started. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. There's
Yeah.
people out here I know probably would never buy from me again, but that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like now it's like different. Like I learned to make everything
Mhm.
better
Yeah.
and price it better where it's
Yeah.
affordable yet
Yes, but still making
profitable.
exactly.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of changes, and well, I'm grateful for the mistakes I made because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made better food, I guess.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And become as successful as you are. Everyone in the community knows Nokelas. There's not one person that does not know Nokelas. You see Nokelas flyer on Instagram, on Facebook, on social media, on Snapchat. Everyone knows about you. And it's just everyone knows about you, and it's just to know that all those hardships were worth it. Pushing through, the dedication, the time that you spent, the sweat and tears you put into your business. I know that that was a lot. So sorry. Let me get it together, okay? But
Thank you for sharing that. You're just a little bit about your story, your upbringing, your background, growing up in Hawaii with your family, and then getting to the beginning of you making your own family, and you and your husband and your oldest out there, and seeing how life was going in the community, and just like you said, the drugs and the rate that that was taking over in your hometown, and for you to really take it seriously and want to make a better future for your child, even at that time, when you had one. Now you have four, but at the beginning, and like you said, you just talked to God about, God, move me out of my situation. I need to get out of this situation. And that prayer was answered through your brother and your sister-in-law, Sana and Missy. And for you to come here to Texas, and then even like you said, in your circumstances, that's what pushed you into starting a business. That's what pushed you to that point. And as much as we never want anyone to go through things like that, but wow, how that pushed you to be able to serve the Texas community with something that we didn't have access to before, which is really good Hawaiian food, like island food. I know we have not Hawaiian. Stop talking about Hawaiian bros, okay? But just home cooking, like island style home cooking, and something that you were so brave to be able to push yourself out there and do, because it's one thing to think about it and ask God, and then for God to show you and then, okay, are you going to take that step in faithfulness to do it? Because there's a lot of times when we pray and we ask God and God shows us and we're like, okay, never mind, I'm too scared.
Yeah.
Okay, God, never mind. But then for you to do that and then feel confident enough to push through with it, that's a different level. That's something that takes faith, and it takes you being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, I want to do something about this. That takes real grit, especially for you being here in Texas, in a place where these are not people you grew up with. These are not people who know you like that, to come and support you even when you fall short or you make a mistake because you just started, and giving you the chance to redeem yourself, you know? So that's really brave. And I really commend you for that, Bree. Something that, to me, like with cooking, because you're so, I'm just not even boosting you, like your food is really good. I remember the first time I went to a football practice for my nephew, and there was a group of women there, poly women, a lot of girls that were sitting there watching their sons practice, and someone had brought up like a plate of food that they had the other day, and they said, oh yeah, that was so good, and where'd you get it from? Oh, I got it from Nokelas. Oh, it's this girl Bree who came from Hawaii. Like, everyone was talking about it, and I remember thinking to myself in that moment, because I remember this like it was yesterday, thinking to myself, wow, I wish whoever that person is, now I get to meet you, but at that time thinking, whoever that person is, I wish that they were here to hear this, because how encouraged would they feel to continue? And you did. This was years ago. This was so many years ago, and you continue to do that. So that's just amazing. For cooking, is that something that was that always a skill that you knew that you had?
No, I never know how to cook anything. Literally, you can ask my mom. She did all the cooking. I only knew how to make grilled cheese and salmon.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was crazy to me because it's like all my life I was doing. I mean, like babysitting for money, like watching
Right.
kids for money,
Right.
and to have something I never did.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's from you, God. Like,
Yes.
because I never know how to cook. Like, it's so funny because I asked him for a way to make income, and then it's like he put something in my head, and then I did it, and then I just kept doing it.
Right.
Like, but I would never do any sale until I prayed about it. Like, okay,
Wow.
God, if you want me to do this, like, I'm gonna do them. And then I just have like all these food ideas, and then I just do it, and I get good feedback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy.
Thank you for doing it. Yeah, because those ideas, you prayed and you asked God, and He filled you with inspiration, and He filled you with insight and ideas. That didn't just come from thin air.
Yeah.
That was given to you directly. Like, the Lord placed those ideas into your head. Like you said, you keep coming up with food ideas, food combinations. If I mix these ingredients and do this, like, and it's so good. There's hasn't been a plate that I've had that is not so good. And that is truly because it is your gift. I could whip up the same recipe and not make it to the standard that you do, because that is your gift. And the thing about your gift is that while you get to exercise your gift, you make it accessible for us to have this food, to be able to enjoy a piece of home, you know, because you bring that to the table by using your gift and not being shy or discouraged or scared. Because like you said in the beginning, you said that there are people now who might not be as supportive as they were before, because that was at the beginning when you were having, trial and error and all of that. What was it? The thing is, because for me to ask, what gave you the confidence to put this out? What gave you the confidence to say, I've never cooked before. I've only cooked grilled cheese. Now I'm going to sell food from my kitchen. For me to ask you, what gave you the confidence? But that you have answered that question over and over by saying you prayed and you asked God, and God told you, and you were like, period, I don't need nobody else. Like, that is, let me write that down somewhere, because that right there is so inspiring. That's just for you to just do it, and then for you to have those mistakes and those challenges, and you're like, I'm gonna still do it though.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Whenever those things happen, those trial and error things, how did that affect you? Did you have to, like, were there times where you thought, maybe I'm gonna put this on the back burner, like, I need to take a break, this is not helping me how I thought it was, or maybe you wanted to change your mind on the direction you were going? Did that ever come up during this time of having Nokela?
No.
All right, then
'Cause-
turn it off. What else do we need to talk about? What else do we need to say? Okay, like I told you when it started. Okay, I got it. I got it now. Right, you said he gave me a vision, so it's like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
That's
Because
amazing.
coming out here, I had nobody literally. I just
Yeah.
had my son, my husband, and my in-laws, and I never had any friends, nobody to talk to. I literally just talked to my parents, my siblings, and my dad. My dad is my best friend, so I was talking to him about all of that, and he was like, gonna have people in your life gonna criticize you and talk bad about you if you make mistakes, but just keep going, like. So I kept going. I was like, okay, dad. Because my dad is my best friend and I listen to him all the time.
Look, you talking to 3 daddy girls right here. So we feel you. We feel you. Oh man, that is the best thing in life is when you have someone by your side encouraging you, someone that you trust. So there's that TikTok that's like that my daddy can. My daddy can. Well, my daddy said. My daddy said, and it's kind of one of those things like. My daddy said I can do it, so I'm gonna do it. And then my father in heaven, my God said I can do it, so I'm real gonna do it. So just seeing you being encouraged through them, through your dad, and being encouraged with your relationship with God and just how he's been moving you to do these things, man, what a blessing it is for us here in Texas, especially because you came in here and you opened up. I feel like you opened that lane for us here in Texas because you were one of the first few to do it and to stay in it because you've been doing it now since you've started. So that is really, really amazing to see. What is your hope for Nokela? Where do you see this going?
Well, my plan for this year was to open up a food truck, but then I got diagnosed with the cancer, and then I was like, okay, God's timing, not mine. Like every time something happens, it's like, okay, like your will over mine. I'm not going to trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The food truck idea, that's definitely needs to happen.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Like I'm just, if everyone can just come together right now and please make this happen because that would be so amazing and you would be just the perfect person to do it. I could totally see that, especially for our generation. And you have the food that brings people around the dinner table. That we need that for sure. But like you said, you went back to this year. You said that was your goal for this year and that you received the diagnosis this year.
Yeah.
Wow. So everything happened. We are now in August. And when you were diagnosed, that was in
March.
Yeah,
right after my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right after your birthday. Man. So with everything that's been happening, with you taking off in this endeavor in your business, and then even celebrating a year of life, and then to receive this diagnosis, I can't even imagine. What that feels like. Like, what was your initial reaction to receiving that?
It was my doctor that called me, and I was at home, and nobody was home but me and my kids. So when he told me, I was like, it's just hard to hear. Like, so I didn't believe it. I was like, what? Are you sure? Like, he was like, yeah, you have breast cancer. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. Like, I was just like, okay, like shocked. So after I hung up the phone, it was just hitting me like I was crying. Oh my gosh, here it comes.
No. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like crying because my first thought was my kids, like, I mean, you guys are moms, like, the first thought was like me dying at an early age.
Yeah.
And then my kids not growing up without me. Like, that's my number one fear. Like, I'm not scared to die. It's just like, I have little ones.
Yeah.
So it was hard. But yeah, after I was crying, I was all in, like, I was in my emotions and, I had to snap out of it. I was like, okay. I was like, get it together, girl. I was like, this is just another battle, like, that I didn't want, but God's will over mine. Like, that's my main thing. Like, not my will, your will. Like, if this gonna happen, like, then I'm gonna go through it for you, like, to show your glory. And Yeah, it was crazy because I wasn't gonna tell anybody that I got diagnosed, but I was moved to. So you know when God tells you to do something, do it.
Yeah.
So I called my dad first. My dad is my number one. So I called my dad
Yeah.
and I broke the news to him and he barely cries, so he was
Yeah.
like kind of screaming on the phone and crying. He was like, "No,
Yeah.
like my baby girl." I was like, "Okay, dad, please stop. Like, can we not forget like, God's will over mine. You always tell me things happen for a reason. So, can we just start this journey and
Mm.
just start fighting it like I don't know what to expect like,
Mhm.
I was just still in shock and stuff and my dad like hear him cry, it was really hard.
Yeah.
And then I broke the news to everybody else and yeah, from there it was just me thinking about my kids. Like I was just begging God. I was like, please don't let me go at an early age because I gotta see my kids grow up. Like it'll just break me to know that if something did happen to me and they're so young and they're so clingy to me, so it's like so hard. Like, but yeah,
That is so tough. Like that's just there's no words to describe how tough that is because like you said when you hear that it's like is this real right now? Is this real life? Is this my life? Like did you call the wrong number? Did are you sure you're talking about me? Just to be hit. I mean like I can just imagine it being hit like being hit by a truck, with this just this dropping this heavy and almost like a life sentence, like what? Huh? And then I feel like sometimes when I'm given something heavy, I feel like it becomes heavier when I tell my parents.
yeah,
Especially like you said, like calling your dad to tell them because because you because you know how it's gonna break them. And so that for you to that be your first phone call, like I'm gonna have to tell, like you said, my best friend. I'm gonna have to tell my best friend this, and for him to be rocked because just like you said, you're his baby girl, you're his everything, and I can't even imagine that weight for a parent, because the same way that you are thinking of your children is the same way that your dad is thinking of you in that moment as his baby and going through this thing. And you said, you know like, yes, this is what's happening, but let's fight. Like, the fight begins. Let's start now. And you still continue to say, Lord, your will over mine. That is just so powerful. And just like you said, your first thoughts are like what every mom's worst fear. Like, please don't take me before my, like, let me teach my kids to live without me before you take me. Like, I just that those thoughts are that alone like keeps you up at night. That kind of thinking, that is so hard for anyone around you. Like you said, you came here to Texas, you didn't have anybody, like, you don't have your friends here, you don't have a like friends you grew up with, friends, your family. And so for you to receive that news in this place, do you think that just how you've been talking about God and him moving you around in your life and how he brought you here to Texas, where you are away from everything that gives you life, everyone that's giving you all the love that you need, and then this is the place that you find that you will now have this diagnosis? That could not have I mean that could not have been a coincidence for you to for God for you to look at everything in your life with such purpose and living your life so intentionally, and God giving you like the confidence, you taking everything that God's showing you and confidently living your life, man. And then for this to happen, for this to be part of your story, I can't imagine. I know that we all have a number, right? We all have a number when our time is up. But it's just so different when your number is called,
yeah,
and it just makes it so real. And I'm saying that as someone who can't even imagine it, someone who I can't even fathom that kind of thing. For you, what difference has it made in the way that you lived or even looked at life before and the way that you live now after? Because life now for you is like has been divided to my life before and my life after hearing it.
Okay, before the diagnosis, it was like, okay, living my life. You know, I was working out, going to the gym, losing weight, feeling confident and good. You know, like self love was like going up and stuff like that. And then to hear that I got diagnosed with the cancer, it was like, wow, like I felt like everything was going downhill because I knew I was gonna lose my hair. I knew I was gonna like stuff was gonna happen, but it was like you said, like when your number is called, it's like, dang, like do I have like a limited time left here? Or it was just like, I don't know, like a lot of different thoughts. And then when I caught myself getting like confused, discouraged, you know, I went back to God. Like my dad always tell me, sit at the feet of Jesus. Like, you know, that's, you just gotta stay close to him or you go and lose it. Like control your emotions or they're gonna control you. So I was like, okay. Like I held on to all of that and it helped me because like every time I caught myself like getting feeling defeated, it was like, okay, like God spoke the world into existence. So speak life over yourself. Like I was like, no, I'm not gonna feel like this. Like I know I'm gonna beat this cancer. I know I'm gonna be alive to watch the kids grow and stuff like that. It was just me. It was every day it was like a battle, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's like damn, it's like I was already fighting like spiritual warfare is real. So it was like I was fighting. I had to fight 10 times harder, not even 10 times, like 100 times, because it was too much. But yeah, worship music, prayer, you know, my support system kept me going. And I think I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for God blessing me with the best community and the best support system. And yeah, it was just, yeah.
I'm just so amazed, Brie, by your strength. Not only because we previously covered your mindset with starting Nokela and still pushing through, even with any like constructive feedback that you received. You just continue to push through, and then to see how you're tackling this too, it's just really inspiring, especially for others out there that may be watching that are going through the same thing and that can resonate with your story. I just want to commend you in how you're continuing to speak life over yourself, and then to have this community of people that are coming around you and surrounding you. I know that there was an event here in Texas. Could you share a little bit about that event, of the community coming around to support you?
My best friend Daisha, she put together a walk. And I told her, I was like, girl, no need. Like, I don't like the attention. I'm not used to it, you know, like the support. And she was like, no, I want to do this for you. I was like, okay. So, man, it was beautiful. I honestly was so shocked at who showed up because it's like, wow, people I don't even talk to, people I don't even know like that. But they bought place before. It's like, wow, you could have been anywhere and you came here in the heat, like 105-degree weather. So it really, like, I couldn't even talk over there. You was there. I was supposed to talk, but I couldn't because I was just like overwhelmed and emotional because like, wow, all these people showed up for me. Like it was just so overwhelming and like, wow, I cannot forget people that showed up for me. Like people I had like, you know, small fallouts with and they still came. Like, wow, you guys came. Yeah, it was just shocking because like people that I thought I was close with didn't even show up, and it was like, wow, you know, when you go through the hardest time of your life, you really gonna see who's there for you. And I've been seeing, and then it's just, it's amazing. Like, I love our community. I love everybody who came out, even though they didn't have to. So, yeah, I don't take things like that lightly. So it was like it meant everything to me.
It was an amazing event. I know that I told Daisha, I told her, I was like, that's such a beautiful way for her to honor you. Like for her to step out and do that extra thing for you. Like she could have done anything else but to organize this event and gather people around to come and support, do that walk in the heat. Yeah, because I know I told Tia, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna melt out here. But it was such an amazing thing to see everybody come around and support you. They had musubis, they had some fresh fruit with lihing mui.
Okay.
But I mean, yes, it's all about supporting Bree right now.
About food?
No, it was about supporting Bree.
Okay, you sure?
There is one thing I want to go back and touch on is how you shared about when you got the news and all you could think about was one, really like, are you sure? Like, is this really real? But the one thing that you said was about thinking about your children, because I can definitely, I mean, I will never fully understand, but I know what you mean when you say that, like, that was your main thing that you're worried about. Because when you leave, I'm sorry, that's not because if you were to leave, you're wondering, like, what about my children? They're still so young, and as you mentioned, they're clingy. But I think with you knowing that your children are still so young, I feel like that gives you that motivation and that strength to keep fighting. Like, you have every reason to keep going. And so I think that's really beautiful that you do have these children to continue fighting for, and then you have this community of people to come around you and support you.
Yes, thank you, Sally. And just touching on Sally about the walk and everyone coming out. You said even ones that you may have had a little fallout with, even they showed up. It just goes to show the impact that you had on each and every person. Even if you had a falling out with them, they still showed up because you did something for them in their life. And I know for the one we had out here in Texas that your dad, your best friend, your other best friend also threw one for you in Hawaii. And I remember seeing pictures. I seen that you and your little family made your trip out there, and it just looked like such a great and wonderful time. And it seemed like just watching your stories that you were home when you were back there, and I'm sure that gave you a lot more encouragement, a lot more strength to come back and continue facing the battle with doing chemo, because I know you're doing chemo, and I believe you have one more round left. And speaking about chemo, I know you have shared before. I remember seeing it about how you came about that, and something about the nurse and what made you gave you the peace of mind of making that decision. If you could share a little bit about that.
I was against chemotherapy just because, I seen my own grandparents' family like literally like go downhill from it. And it's like, what was the point of chemotherapy if it's just destroying somebody?
Yeah.
So I was against it, and I was like gonna full on believe God that He was gonna heal me. So this nurse came in when I was getting set up with my surgeon. So this nurse came in and she was like, I felt like she loved God.
Yeah.
When you
just-
know, you know.
yes.
So
Yeah.
I felt her presence. So I was like explaining about my beliefs and what I wanted to do because I was gonna deny chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk like this, but I do love God. My dad is a pastor, and I just feel like I have to share with you right now since you brought this up. But sometimes God sends people our way to help us, help our physical bodies heal. And even though it may not be your way, like it's God's way. So just try to be wise and pray about it before you make a decision. So I was like, okay, like we were just talking, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna call my dad. Like my dad, like I said, my dad is my go-to. So I asked God, I was like, okay, give me confirmation, because I don't want to be confused and do something I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I asked God for a confirmation through my dad. So I was like, okay, whatever my dad say, Lord, like that's what you want me to do. That's my clear confirmation from you through my dad. So when I explained everything to my dad, he told me right away. He was like, "You doing the chemotherapy?"
Yeah.
And I started crying. I was like, "I don't want to, but okay, I'll do it because God is telling you to tell me." So I felt at peace after, because it was stressing me out. Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Believe God for full healing, and then the
Yeah.
cancer eat up my body,
Yeah.
go stage 4, and then die early. So I was like, okay, we're not doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man. Just so thankful that the nurse was there and just to speak life into you, especially with a life changing event that has happened in your life. And I know that day you went and got that little surgery that you put
The port.
the port in. I remember you came to step that very day. You came to step because we had LA. She had a step class, and we were all gonna wear pink in support of Bree. And Brianna, here comes Bree, walking over there with her port that she just got to get ready for her chemo, and she's over there stepping with us. And I remember thinking, is this girl crazy? What is going on? But it just goes to show the type of person you are, your resilience, your your drive and push to want to continue to live on for your children, not just for yourself, but for your kids. And at the same time, I see you on your story, you're going to your son's football practices, even now, and even in this hot weather with everything going on, that nothing stops you. There's nothing that gets in your way. Just like earlier when Anna said, how was it dealing with those hardships and stuff? And you're like, no, like I said, write it down. I already said, okay, because when God gives you that vision, you just go for it and you tackle it and nothing can get in your way. And that's just so inspiring, Brie, and just so grateful and thankful to be able to just sit here and just be in this moment with you and just listen to your story and everything that you have to share. Because I know for me personally, I don't know much about chemo. I just know I have some family members, but I've never had it. I can't speak because I didn't go through it myself, but being able to sit here and you being able to be vulnerable in this moment and share your story, it truly means a lot to us. And we're just so thankful and grateful to have you here with us today. I know we have some other questions. I'm going to pass it off to Anna.
Sometimes she just talks so long, right? Like sometimes I'm like, the thing is going and going and going and going. Okay, anyway, but no, I totally agree with what Kim was saying. Just with your story, and like you said, when you first received the diagnosis, and you told your family and everyone you love, and you said, okay, now I need to fight. And you said that this is something that you didn't want to tell people, you didn't want people to know about you, but you just felt the need, you felt called to share your story from the very beginning, from the diagnosis to the journey that you had to take, to the days where you felt weak, the days you felt strong. You have kept everyone in the loop, everyone on social media, and just like your family and friends and your community here in Texas, just keeping everyone updated on the ups and downs and what it looks like. And some days it sucks. Like there was something that you had to pull out of, because you were going to be a vendor or something, an event. And I saw that you had to pull out because there was just no way physically that you were going to be able to fully commit to it. And so I know that that was really tough for you to pull out. I know that that was really discouraging for you to have to pull out due to your health. But to see you still push through, make those decisions, still sign up to do things. Just like tomorrow, we're having, well, when this episode is released, it would have already passed, but the back to school coming up, and where our community is getting together to give out backpacks and school supplies, and you signed up and you're like, well, I'm gonna be there and I'm not gonna miss it, and just things like that. Like you are still so present in the community, still serving, even through your ailment and through this diagnosis. And like, God is he is the great physician, and he is over all, and he's still sovereign, even through this time, even through this journey, this difficulty, whatever it looks like, wherever this journey will lead, where it will go, how far it will go, he's still in control of all of that. And for you to know that as you make the best decisions to the best of your ability, like to take chemo or not take chemo, to do this treatment or not, but to still know that God is still in control no matter what, and he still works everything together for the good of the people who love him. And just to see you stay firm in that, and to see you hold on to that, because I don't know, to be hit with something like that, and like you said, to lose even people that you thought were close to you, and to go through something and you see who really rides for you and who doesn't, and then to know that everything is basically being stripped away, the future that you had planned, just even you working on yourself, like you said, your self-love and going to the gym and doing all this, even that, all these things just being stripped away from you, and you just being left holding on to the fact that, man, God, you are still in control. Like, people are so fickle. People are leaving. Like the people I thought were there for me, they're gone. And then, but then, like in the absence of that one, God has brought a community for everyone that has left your side, and for you just to be overwhelmed whenever that walk was put together, and for you to be overwhelmed by that and to see these people and think, I didn't think that they were going to show up. Like they just bought a plate for me. And but that just goes to show how instrumental and just how valued you are in the community, all the lives of the people that you've touched with giving, serving food, and just making a friend here and there, just by promoting your business and doing your own thing, walking in your lane, and the people coming together just to love on you and support you through this journey. That's not by accident. That's not just because they had nothing to do on a Saturday. That's literally because of the care and the support that this community has for you. And I'm so thankful for the time, for the good things, for the things that you are able to experience, because like I said before, there's nothing that I can say to add to for anything, anything that you're going through. But all I can do is to show up and support you in all the ways that show you that we love you, and we're so thankful that you're here. We're so thankful for the gifts that you continue to. We're so thankful for you still walking in the your lane. Even with all of this, it has not stopped you. Maybe it slowed you down, but it definitely has not stopped you. If anything, there's so much more real life things happening now, real people in your life. And I can only imagine the times that you talk with God, and that just and the Bible says He's close to the brokenhearted, and just you just hearing His voice through all of this and holding on to that. That is really encouraging to me. And like we say, like you're so brave, but I know for you, you're like, that's all I got. Like that's the only option. I don't got no other option but to fight. My back is up against the wall. I got these kids. I asked God for a way out. He brought me here. I asked God give me vision, and He provided it. And now this is on my plate too, and for you to take that like a champ, man, it's really, it's a sight to see. Like, but for us, like, what can we do as a community? Not even community, but even like your family members, your close friends who are watching. What is something that we can do to support you in your journey? What is like in the practical ways, and everything else? Like show up with dinner, show it, like really. What are the ways? Right, not you, not you, but in those things, what is something like right now that can be done by all the people who know you, by your community? Speak to them. Tell us what is something that we can do to show up for you and to support you while you're going through this journey.
Just message me. Like just a message. People don't know, like just a simple text goes a long way. Like for me, like wow, you were thinking of me, like that's okay. Like that, it feels good to know that people think of you. Because honestly, when I got diagnosed and a lot of people was messaging me, I was like, wow, you guys care. Like I don't even know you, like, and you care about me. Like wow, like okay, now I love you. Like wow, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just a simple text like that. Like I said, it goes a long way. Just to know that you're thinking about me is like, okay, I love you too. Yeah.
That's so true. You said it earlier. You said, well, God spoke the world into existence. Without a frame of reference, He created everything, us, the world, everything in this world. And for you to say you take that same boldness in speaking life over yourself, just knowing the value of words, and then to turn around and say, well, the best way that you can serve me is to text me. So I see it. I see the comment thread here, and I will show up for you in that way, and block me if it gets too much. But hello. Okay, but seriously, yes. So thank you for sharing that, because that's real. Like text me an encouragement. And for you,
Let me know you're thinking.
yeah, and to let you know that that you are on our mind, that you are in our prayers, and that just it's so funny because it's so true for you
Yeah.
in everything that you say. So I know that you really mean that, is to text you and share our day with you through text messages and just be there to walk alongside you through this journey, because you're definitely not alone. You're definitely you've got prayer warriors in your corner. You've got people ready to show up for you on a hot Texas summer day. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I will definitely continue to do that from now on, and to keep that in mind, because as our brothers and sisters and family and friends and go through their journeys in life, that is something that, as simple as a word of encouragement, can make somebody's day. Yeah.
I've been praying, begging God that I wouldn't lose my hair. But then when I started to notice I did, like I was losing it in chunks, and I was like, okay, like I feel like that was a little another test of my faith. Like if I lose my hair, am I still gonna praise him? Like I was thinking he was thinking that like, okay, if I allow you to lose your hair, are you still gonna praise me? So like that came to my thought when I started like pulling out all my hair. So I was like, nah, my hair gonna grow back. I was like, I'm sorry, Lord. Like, I love you. I still gonna praise you. It's just my hair. Like, I'd rather have my health than my hair. Like,
Yeah.
so I was like looking up wigs.
Yeah.
Daisha introduced me to wigs. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I was excited to shop. And she was telling me, she was like, it makes me so happy to see that you're excited to shop for a wig because, like, you know, you just lost your hair and now you're excited to go wig shopping. It's like, yeah, like, because, you know, when you look good, you feel good. So
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
needed my hair. And then I noticed I started losing my eyebrows. So I was like, oh, hell no. Like, let me go look something up. I was like, Daisha, I'm
Like,
losing
God,
my
both?
eyebrows.
Come on.
Yeah. So I was like, she introduced me to this TikTok trend. It was
Yeah.
like like the tattoos that you wet. And then, so
Oh, yeah,
yeah, those
yeah.
are my eyebrows now. Yeah.
Okay, and natural.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, now I gotta buy my own eyebrows.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, just having a friend to be able to go through that with, and still being able to, like, okay, I'm gonna go shopping.
Yeah.
I'm shopping for my eyebrows, but I'm still shopping. I'm still doing me, still being cute. And for you to still find like time to have fun, and time to just enjoy life during these trials. Man, thank God for good friends. Thank God for a good community. Thank God for his vision. um what is your hope for your children with everything the way that it is today? What is your hope for your family, especially for your children now?
Just to follow what I do, I guess. Like the good things that I do, like fighting, praying, and stuff like that. Like to endure until the end, like God said, like, you know, this life is temporary. And I share that with my kids, like, you know, we only here a certain amount of time, even though they don't really understand. My oldest one does. So he always talks about Jesus and he doesn't want me to die and he's gonna be sad if that happens and stuff like that. So it's like I want them to see me fighting this disease and me winning, and they're gonna be like, you know, growing up, be like, you know, you remember mommy, she beat that disease that kills a lot of people. Like I just want them to hold on to something
Yeah.
that'll help them as they get older. Like just keep fighting, even if it's not cancer, like if it's something else, like mental health or like anything, like just keep fighting. And I feel like I got that from my mom because she endured so much.
Yeah.
My dad says that too, like, you know, you're so strong, you endure so much because your mom done that. You get that from your mom, not me. And I was like, oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question about your mindset, but you already answered it saying that you got that from your mom. And I think that is a great thing to take away.
Like you said, your dad was saying that you got that from your mom because she fought so many things. And that's the same thing that your children are going to be able to say, you know, like, I'm strong because my mom. Like, I am a business owner because my mom. I got this mindset because of my mom. I have vision because I watched my mom have vision. And I know how to get out of this situation because my mom. So in that way, they're learning so much and they're gaining so much from this journey. Just not even the things you say, but just watching you and how you navigate life and the things that you have to do and decisions you're making, and they just don't even know it, but they're soaking all of this in, and the strength that you're showing. And strength is not being strong every day. Strength is even when you're weak, having the courage to say, I got to pull out of this because I can't make it. That takes strength to do that. And your kids are learning that firsthand by watching you. I can only imagine the things that they have already learned that they're not even aware of right now. I'm being so serious though, just for your kids to watch you, what a testimony that is to them. That's powerful than anything they could read, watch, like learn at school or any that is so powerful for them to be able to see you and for you to fight every day with a positive outlook. Because the thing is that your mindset basically is control is how you look at everything, how you look at your diagnosis, how it frames your perspective on how you look at the situation you're in. And for you to still have a positive mindset, that's because of who you are, what makes you you, your paradigm, whether that was things that was taught to you by your dad and your mom, your upbringing, things you learned later in life, that all of those things that made you you has formed this positive person and this with this can do attitude and this fighter spirit. um so this is definitely an encouragement to all of us. For your going back to your business, are you going to try to still pursue, because we're in August now, we've got a couple months to the end of this year. Are you going to try to push through? Do you have any goals that you want to hit for Nokela personal on your business, on the business side of things, that you want to hit by the end of this year?
Not really. My main goal is just to beat cancer and then start, really staying consistent in sales and then hopefully a food truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because this is definitely like, this is, taking its toll. This is 24/7, something that you have to battle, something that you have to consciously make a decision to be positive in. How is your mom in all, because your mom is here in Texas.
Yeah.
And how is your mom with everything?
She's good. Like she's strong, like always. She when I want to do food sales, she's like, no, like, are you off? Like, just stop selling food, stop cooking. Like, just worry about being cancer free. And I'm like, okay, but when I moved, I still do it. So, and she helps me. So, so I was like, girl, we gotta make that money, girl. She's like, okay, no, for real. She is my biggest help, and God knew I needed my mom here because she was in Vegas. And then, man, since we moved here, I prayed since 2018 that God will make a way for her to be here with us. And she came here 2 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm grateful. That's why, like, when I go through stuff, it's like, I know God will make it happen. Like, especially if you believe. Yeah, like God's will. I know you know I need my mom, so you gonna make her come here. So he did. So it was,
there's definitely power in prayer, and you're a testimony to that in everything that you've done in your life and your journey. Asking God to move you, He moved you. Asking God, I need a way to pay these bills, He made a way. You said, I need my mom here next. He brought her here, and now you're saying, okay, God, do what you need to do. Be glorified in my journey. Be glorified in this trial that I'm taking. When you're done with that, go ahead and make me cancer free. But just the fact that you are taking this journey and you're bringing us along with you, and I'm so thankful that you have opened the door for us to support you, and that you didn't choose to go through this alone, and that you chose to put this out for everyone, even here on this podcast, and to use this platform so that everyone out there can hear about what you're going through and what you're doing, to stay positive and just to spread that energy, that infectious energy to our community. Thank you so much, Bree.
So what's something you have taken away from all of this? Maybe something you could share with someone that may have just found out they have cancer, and a word of encouragement that you would like to share.
Um, man, if they decide not to tell anybody, they should,
Mm.
because support is everything.
Yeah.
Literally, even if you don't think you need it, you
Yeah.
really need it. Because I
Mm.
thought I didn't need
Yeah.
it, but just seeing the community come together
Mm.
and people caring about what I'm going through,
Mm.
it's like, damn, like I'll fight harder. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. And also, do your research. If you're doing chemotherapy,
Mhm.
do your research on what helps you recover. Because after my first round,
Yeah.
I ended up getting dehydrated, and then I got on,
Mm.
yeah, I got
Oh yeah,
sepsis,
that's right.
and I didn't even know I had sepsis for like
Yeah.
that whole week, the first week,
Wow.
because I thought it was a part of the chemo and the
Yeah.
recovery. So I was like, damn, like I feel like I'm dying. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like
Wow.
I cannot do this anymore. So I called the ambulance. I was telling my
wow.
mom them, I was like, call the
Mhm.
ambulance. I can't
Yeah.
handle. So they took me to Baylor, and they was doing blood tests and stuff, and they were like, you have sepsis. I was like,
Oh
what is
wow.
that? And then
Yeah.
they were explaining. I was like, oh, I was like, I didn't know. I don't know what that is. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known. And they were like, man, if you didn't come in and you slept
Wow.
with this, you probably
Mhm.
wouldn't have woke up. And I was
Wow.
like, damn. I was
Yeah, like
like,
even more like ah.
yeah. It was crazy because I was hospitalized for 5 days.
Mm.
This I think it was the fourth or third day. My fever was at 103 and they couldn't break
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
So like the whole day I was like 103, and everything was going downhill, and I was like, I felt like I was slipping, like I
Yeah.
was going,
Yeah.
like I was seeing stuff,
Yeah.
and then I saw like the light, like just like bright, like
Yeah.
bright light. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, God, I was like, you better not let me die like
Yeah.
this. My kids is at home. Like, please don't. Even though I feel like I dying, like
Mhm.
I still gonna trust you that you can deliver me from
Yeah.
this. So I kept speaking that, and then I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, they cannot break my fever. And she said the nurses was like, one on my left, one on my right. They were
Mhm.
like, please don't sleep, like don't close your
Yeah.
eyes, because you might slip into a coma.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn. I was like, so I called my dad while they went to go get ice to ice my
Mhm.
body down. And I told my dad what was happening. He was like, okay. So they called the pastor that I grew up with and their
Mhm.
wife, his wife.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, put me on speakerphone. So I put my dad on speakerphone, and they were all praying,
Mhm.
just praying. It was just me, my husband. I think he was grabbing food or something, but my dad and the pastor and the wife, they were just praying over the phone. And man, I just felt the Holy Spirit, and I was like, okay, like I felt so relaxed after. Like I'm not even kidding. 5 minutes after,
Yeah.
5-10 minutes after, my fever broke.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. I
Wow.
was like, thank you, Lord. I was like, thank you.
Mm.
I was like, I knew you wasn't gonna let me die like
Yeah.
this. I was like, I
Yeah.
never see my kids for like 2
Yeah.
days.
We
And
still need the food truck too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
but yeah, it was crazy because man, I was literally about to lose.
Yeah.
Not even to the cancer, to an
Yeah.
infection. And I was like, God, you better not let me die.
Yeah.
I was like, no, even though I feel like I'm about to die, I know you're not, like, you see my faith. I know you're going to honor my faith and
Mm.
keep me here for my kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. I was fighting for my life on that
Yeah.
bed, and man, I swear if I never have kids, I honestly wouldn't have cared to fight that
Oh yeah,
hard.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your kids they really, once you have kids, they just really change your whole world. They make you want to be a better person each and every way so that you can, continue to watch them and grow up and see them be, good human beings on this earth. But I I'm just at a loss for words because I honestly could not imagine going through that. Imagine going through my first treatment of chemo and then going through the week not knowing that I have sepsis, that I had caught an infection, thinking that this is chemo because that's your
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
experiencing it, until you knew, like, okay, mom, I call the ambulance. I have to go in. Something's wrong. I don't know if it's chemo or what it is, to find out that you have sepsis, that literally all your organs were failing you. And that they told you if you didn't come in that day, that you probably wouldn't have seen tomorrow. And just sitting there with that reality hitting you and knowing, like, wow, God, like, if I didn't go in, like,
my kids, just thinking my kids, my kids, my kids, because that's what I would think. Parents, that's all you can think of as kids, especially having little ones, because your oldest is like 7,
6.
6, so yeah, and you have 4, so that's even more little kids, and just like the thought of laying in that hospital bed, getting the news and knowing that they can't break your fever, nothing is working, and it feels like you're starting to see the light and knowing like, God, this can't be it. Like, this can't be the end of my story. I know that there's more to me, and sitting there and wondering like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? And then you call your father, and then your father calls, your pastor that you grew up with, just to call to our heavenly Father that we serve, to call onto him and say, Lord, heal Bree, break this fever. And, it says where 2 or more are gathered, that he is there in the midst with them. So, and just to know that 5-10 minutes later, after that, the nurse is running to get ice packs because literally they couldn't break that fever. And then to know that 10 minutes later, you broke it and you felt so at peace, that it just shows that there is power in prayer. Just like what Anna said, there is power in prayer. And just hearing you share that, Bree, and sharing the encouragement and just seeing your outlook on life, that you continue to fight, you continue to push on, even with finding out about sepsis and knowing that you were this close. You were like inches away from literally, seeing the light. And man, just what an amazing story. Thank you so much, Bree, for sitting down with us. Thank you so much for taking this time to be here with us. I know that, the week was busy and we were like, what's your schedule? When can you fit us in? Because we want to, we want to sit with you, and just you allowing us to come into your space, come into your personal things that you have gone through. Because I know you have shared some, but just being here and hearing every single part of it, every step of the way, has just been so encouraging. I'm so encouraged. And you are just such an amazing woman, amazing mama, a boss woman, entrepreneur, and a small business owner. And we just thank you so much for being with us here today, Bree.
Something that you said, you were like, that you were sharing, because you said that you were thinking like, I'm gonna die from this infection. Like,
Right, like-
you
like, you're not
you
gonna let
diagnosed
me-
me with cancer just to take me away from sepsis, like just to. So, I mean, just the thought of that, because we really can be diagnosed with something and die from something else. Like, you never know what God has in store for us. Like, you never know His plan. You never know how God moves. Because if you know it, then you might be God. Because only God knows what God. You know what I'm saying? Like, only God moves like that. So that's. So what? So I'm sorry. So like, for you, that's real. Like, that's really real, because in that moment you're kind of like, hold up, I know you ain't taking me out this way. Well, I'm going through chemo. You take me out like that through sepsis. Man, just and all the things that are to come. All the other things that are to come, like that. Like, even for us sitting here, like, it's for you. Like, every day that you are here is, you live life so intentionally, and I feel like you do it at a different level, because like we talked about earlier, like, your number really was called, and it brought you it kind of like, when they, like, it shocked you to life, and like, when they resuscitate you, like, it's like you just got like another huge breath of fresh air, like pushed into you to like wake up. Every day counts, every day matters, and we say life is short, make every day count. But for you, it's real. For life is short, I need to make every day count, for my children, for my family. I need to tell the people I love them. I need to tell them, like, I need to pursue everything. It's so crazy, because like, at the beginning, when you're pursuing a business or something, and you have those thoughts, those like, I'm too scared. What are people gonna say? But then when you're living each day so intentionally, all those little stuff is like background noise.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't have time to think about what you want to say. I don't have time. I don't have time to care. Like, I literally don't have time. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like we're laughing because that's all we can do. To keep from crying and falling asleep and wake up and cry again, because that's devastating. That's so devastating for a mom. Like, I can't even imagine. That's heartbreaking. Like, like, thank God you took the air out of my lungs. Like the same air that you put in me, you take it out. That's like, I can't even imagine that, like, for you as a mom. But and so, and now you're like, okay, God, every single, like, all the air you breathe into me, I'm just gonna use it to worship you. Like, that's, I can't even, I keep saying I can't imagine, because I really can't even, like, okay, God, you, today you give me this breath, I'm gonna just use it to say praise God. Okay, you give me breath again, I'm gonna use it to say your
will.
your will, your will. Like, that is because you have two choices whenever life gives you something like this. And the power, because we can't control anything. We can't control getting sick, not getting sick. The only thing that is in our control is our response. And you chose to respond with thanksgiving. You said, thank you, God, for this. Thank you, God, for this trial. Thank you, God, for this challenge. Thank you for using me so that you can be glorified in my weakness. I don't know if I can respond like that. Like, you don't know what you're gonna do. Like, you can say it, right? You can you can be so faithful. I have seen God move. I've tasted and seen. I've tasted God and I've experienced his goodness, and I know God is good. But do I know what I'll do if that was me? No. You can say all you want, but you never know until it's at your front door. Like, until it's knocking at your door. And now you're thinking, like, okay, what do I do if I go? Do I need to save money to prepare my family if they lose me? Do I need to see who's my kids gonna stay with? Like, that's not real life for me. I don't have to think about that. I don't spend my day thinking about those things. But for you to gracefully get in the ring and you say, okay, God, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight in the ring with you. Like, you didn't say my freaking life sucks. I don't want care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Throw the business in the trash. Throw the, you know what I mean? Like to be like, I'm gonna lie down and die.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you tell me, like, some people, the day they receive the diagnosis is the day they stop living.
Yes.
But for you, it renewed you, and you said, "Oh dang, I have a new purpose in life. Like, God has given me this challenge, and I'm gonna share it with everybody, so that no matter what, God's glorified. No matter if I'm having a good day, a bad day, God's glorified." And then even to get to the the possibility of death, you were like, nah,
Not this way.
I said we're gonna do this together. We're gonna do this together. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
That's so real. Because people can say, all they want, like, yeah, God be glorified. But yeah, when you're there and death, you're staring death in the face, and you're looking at your kids, you're like, hold up, not yet. And for you to fight, I know that's a different strength. That's a strength I've never experienced. I've never got to that part. I've never had to activate that part before. Like, but you're living off of that. Every day you operate from a different place than people, from us sitting here. We can never understand that. We can only walk alongside you and hope that we can intercede for you in prayer, just like your dad, just like your old pastor and his wife, just like, in the Bible, the man who was paralyzed, and they said, oh, God was healing people left to right in this house, and it's crowded, and it's crowded in the front, it's crowded in the back, there's nowhere to go. And the friends were like, we're gonna go on the roof. We're gonna go on the roof, and we're gonna cut a hole. The house doesn't even belong to me, but I'm gonna cut a hole in it, and I'm gonna lower my friend at Jesus' feet. Because that's how much faith I have. I know God can do it. I know he can. I just have to take you there. I just have to get you there. And for you to go through this, we have the responsibility as your community, as your friends, to take you there. Like, there's no way. There's only the roof that we gotta go. Like, don't say there's no way. There's always a way. If we have to cut a hole in my neighbor's house and lower you in there, then that's what we gotta do. Like, that's the power of interceding in prayer for somebody. And that's what we have to do for community, That's how we can fight with you. While you're fighting, that's how we can come alongside you and get in the ring and just intercede every time in prayer for you. So many times in the Bible where, like the Roman soldier who went to God and said, "My son,
yeah.
my son, my son is dead. My son is sick. He's not waking up." And he told God, he said, "But I know you can wake him up." He said, "God, look, me, he was in the part of the Roman soldiers. He was like a captain, like a centurion. Yeah, he was a someone with authority, and he was like, when I tell my men to move, I go like this and they move." And he said, "I know you can do that." He was telling God, "I know you have that authority. I know that my son is not even in your presence. He's all the way over there, but I know that if you speak it, he will be healed." And God told him that his son, he said, "Your faith." He told the man, he said, "Your faith." That's how his son was delivered. And that's the same thing for us, is to do that for you, to intercede for you, to stay strong in prayer without ceasing, for you to be able to do that and say, "Man, God, I know you can do it." Just like the lady who touched the hem of his garment. Like, I don't even need you to look at me. I just need to touch you. I just need something that belongs to you. That because your power, you're that great, you're that powerful. Like, that's the same thing that we need to do for you, is to bring you and lay you at the feet of Jesus and say, "God, you will be glorified in this, Lord." Because even though the capability of living is being taken from you, from your physical body, your will is so strong. If anything, your will is stronger. Your will to live is stronger today than it was before the diagnosis. And even though your physical body may be failing you, God is glorified through all of that. In our weaknesses, in our infirmities, God is glorified through that. So I know that He is moving in your life. I'm so encouraged just hearing your story about how everything you did, you waited for God to give you that confirmation before you did it. And you prayed with expectation. You said, "I'm praying because I know you're going to do it, God. I know you see me. You see me struggling. You see me hurting here. If God cared about you to move you out of that neighborhood, like, how much more is He moving you out of this this pain that you're feeling?" Like, God is so good. And that, even that right there, for me to say it, it feels
Like,
unfair.
yes.
It feels unfair. Like, that's just how it is. It just feels like, of course God is good. Like, of course. But to be in your shoes and for you to say God is good, there's power behind that. Because you have every right to say the opposite. You have every right. But because you continue to say, "God, you're good, man. God, you're so good." That's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that with everybody, to sharing your story and continuing to elevate God and to continue to lift Him up high, even through your struggles. I There's no words to say how much of a blessing that is to everybody. I don't know where our road is gonna go. I don't know. I don't know how life is gonna take us from here. But thank you so much for letting us join you. Thank you so much for letting us just be here and be able to exercise our faith and exercise prayer, so that we can do that for you, Bree. Because I don't know if I would be doing a podcast episode if I was you. I'd be like, don't block me and don't ever waste my time again. For real. For real. Like, please don't ever call me to your stupid little stuff. Like, I'm so serious. Like, I'm trying to live. I'm trying to live. Like, to make, right now, your time is so precious. For you to take time out of being there with your children and your family and to come here, knowing where you are in life, that means a lot. And I do not take that for granted. I'm so appreciative that you decided that this was important enough for you to come here and get your story out. So thank you so much, Bree. Really, 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 like, and I was telling my sisters, like, this is the first time that I'm actually meeting you. Because we never had time. We talk on social media, but we never had time to really meet. Out of my sisters, I'm the one who never sees anybody. Like, some people, if it wasn't for the podcast, people would think I don't exist. If it wasn't for this, making people know, like, oh, there's another sister. So I'm so happy that we have the opportunity to see each other, and we have the opportunity to meet, and God has orchestrated things long ago so that we could come together like this, and we can know your story. And I'm sure in the same way that we're inspired, people is gonna be so inspired by this and to see your strength. I really don't know, like to have something as heavy as this and to walk as lightly as you do. I don't know. Only God can do that. Only God can do that.
Can I share something?
Yeah.
Yes, please. I'm gonna shut up now.
No. I was waiting till you finished because I was getting emotional. No, I just wanted to say, I wouldn't have had the faith I have today if I didn't go through what I went through before. Like every time you're going through something like a trial, like just take it to God and do your part, and then He'll do the rest. Like He's gonna do the impossible. That was my mindset. Everything I went through by myself, like nobody knew what I was going through. I stayed close to God, only Him, literally. Like, cause who else is gonna help you?
Yeah.
Who else who else has a say in your life? Like nobody, just God. Like, He knows everything we go through. And I feel like everything I went through, like the darkest times of my life, like it was a blessing for me, because I wouldn't have had the strength and the faith I have today. Like I feel like everything we go through builds us. How do you say it? Okay, sorry, I might fall out.
No, it's okay.
Everything we go through is just like it's preparing us for something bigger.
Yes.
Like, and I feel like this was meant to happen at this time, because the faith I have, like it's just crazy to me. Sorry, I'm like getting lost right now.
No, you're fine.
But I'm grateful. Like honestly, hearing you have cancer is like, damn, like that would kill somebody. Like just keep them down. But like it's been a blessing for me more than a burden, because just to see who's there for me and how loved I am. Like I honestly never know people cared for me. It's like, oh, it's just a girl that sell food, like but it's like you coming out to support, even though we never sat down and talked. Like it's like, wow, like that means so much to me. And just like it's just been a blessing in many ways, like especially with taking my faith to the next level. I was telling God, I was like, please let me get a break after this, because I'm kind of tired. Like it's just crazy. Like if you're going through something, like, and you don't believe in God, like maybe it's time that you take it to God. Because if you think I'm strong, I am not. Like if you think I'm good, I'm not. That's all God. Like that's God working in me, living through me. Like I mean, I have my days where I'm like in my flesh, especially with my kids, yelling and overstimulated. But man, when it gets time to like getting like holy and sharing God's goodness, it's like, damn, like I have to like I have no shame. Like I feel like people are like, some people would be like shy to like share what God has done for them. Like not me. Like I gotta share, like, what God did for me. Like this is what He did and still doing. Like you see that I'm alive. Like I survived the 5th round of chemo. I don't think I would have made it if I didn't have the faith and the support system and the wisdom to like look up stuff that helps me recover physically. Because when we do our part, God will do the rest. Like always.
Say that again.
Because when we do our part, God
Do the rest.
will do the rest. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy that we're here in Texas, and this diagnosis is like bringing people together. Like my story is bringing people together. It's like, okay, like people look at me like, oh, you're so strong, like you're such a good person. No girl, that's all God. That's not me. Like my dad always says, praise Him through the good and the bad. And I've been like, everything I went through by myself, like I just praise Him, like because it'll just shift the atmosphere. Like honestly, I don't know where I would be without God. I mean, I know I would be dead. I would be dead. But yeah, just grateful. Thank you guys so much for having me. I love you guys.
Oh, we love you. We're so thankful. Yeah, please.
And we just thank you so much for being with us here today, Bree. And also thank you to our listeners that are tuning in to this episode with Bree, aka Nokelas. We truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please leave a word of encouragement to share with Bree. And also just reach out to her. Let her know that you're thinking of her, that you're praying alongside of her. And
Thank you guys. Thank you.
thank you, Bree.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe, or comment what you thought of this episode. Thank you for tuning in to our Anna Said podcast. Bye.